And welcome everybody to a Monday edition of Leading Off over here on Fantasy Pros. And it looks a little different around here today, folks. It's been a little different for a few weeks, a lot of mixing and matching of hosts and analysts. Today it's really different because they gave me the keys to this thing, which is, I don't know. Like most people think it's a horrible idea, but we're going to have a lot of fun around here. I'll tell you that much. I am Casey Bubba for you that may be new to the show, but to my right, depends on how you look at the screen here, I have a specialist. First time I get to record with this wonderful individual. I've heard the voice. I've witnessed the shows, but Miss Kelly Keegs, we know her as the Wonky Penguin, or Kelly Kirby, sorry. We know her as the Wonky Penguin in the chat. Kelly, welcome to the show. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to record with you. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, I don't think you and I have ever actually talked on a show together. But also I do have to question Fantasy Pros for allowing us to do that. I'm like, not only are they giving you host studios, and I'm like, they're pairing you with me. Well, here we go.
Yeah, we're gonna have a ton to laugh about, talk about, putting the sheet together. It's baseball's still roaring in a big way, Kelly's show. It's great. You're all usually in the chat, keeping the folks somewhat organized in there. I know it's impossible with that crew, but we love them to pieces. But let's get to it. It's again, we got about 7 more weeks of baseball to go, which is crazy to think about. But we'll start right at the top with one of the big dogs right now, Jacob Misiorowski, who it felt like at one point this season they were going to slow him down. He didn't pitch in the All-Star game, and then he comes back and kind of gets his start pushed back, throws a small start. Well, he's back. Like we're good. Might still get played with a little bit, but the Miz, as we shall further call him, struck out 9 over 6 innings on Sunday versus the Twins, which is maybe some might think's a downer, just 9 strikeouts for the Miz. Like, what are we doing here? This is not what we're expecting. But more importantly, impressive stuff here. Jacob Misiorowski is the second fastest pitcher in baseball history to get 200 strikeouts in a season. He did it in 129 and a third innings, Kelly, just 6 innings behind that guy Spencer Strider in 2022. And then Strider did it again in 2023, which is pretty impressive. But what's your thoughts on what we're seeing from the Miz? Because it seems like every time he's must-see TV, and when you think he can't do something, he just continues to surprise me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's not overly inspiring that he's sandwiched between Strider there, given where Strider is currently, but we don't have to talk about the injury situation or our injury concerns, because what he's doing is just unbelievable. In my home league, we get to keep them in the round that they're ranked, and I had him from last year, and I got to keep him, I think, in the 11th round or 10th round, because he was ranked 1 something, about 1 teens, and I just that's a steal. That's the biggest steal I'll ever have. He is, in terms of fantasy, you don't want to play against him. When he's starting, you're just like, okay, here comes the correction to my ratios. Here comes the strikeouts. It's just, he's been absolutely the best fantasy player, I think, for me this year.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting looking back on the end of the season. There's always people say, the league winners is what they say. They'll say certain players are. And in theory, there's no technical league winners. You still got to build a roster, but there's players that really help you win your leagues. Let's put it that way. And I'm really curious to see how many rosters the Miz is on when things are all said and done, especially in deeper formats like 12 teams, 15 teams, because you really had to lock in at certain points, and he's just been that dominant. It's not just strikeouts. Coming into the season, we were worried about walks with Miz, and then so you're worried about how many innings is he going to throw, so on and so forth. He's done it all. He's gotten better and better, and now I won't go deep into it, but you hinted at it, and that's, trust me, first thing I thought of when I saw this tweet. He's right between Strider, the big units on there at 4, but then Cole as well just came back from a double injury. We know how this game works, unfortunately, so we don't want to see this when it comes to the Miz, but it's darn impressive, and the Brewers are going to be fun to watch, and I think this postseason should be an absolute blast because they've actually put a pitching staff together, which has usually been their biggest hindrance going into the postseason. So looking forward to that from the Miz.
Yeah, and I was going to comment real quick. Game Over, I think, in the chat said that he's given up 3 home runs in his last 2 starts. Is that something to be concerned about? And I'm kind of in a position of no, unless he stops striking people out, I could not care less. I'm as long as that stays in that range, I'm all right.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was with Rico last week or Welsh or whoever. One of my shows I was on. Too many shows, but I mentioned I didn't mention with the Miz per se, but there's some other of these younger pitchers that. It brings me back to the Scherzer and Verlander world. Even Cole has done it for a long time. I'm going to throw it hard, and I'm going to throw fastballs, and I'm going to make you hit it. And more often than not, you're not. And if you do, it's a solo homer. I don't care. But I'm not going to walk you. That's the biggest thing. Like, you can suffer 3 home runs, and I think he's been just fine, to your point. And I'm not going to let that phase me. Like, I think it was Scherzer led baseball in home runs allowed one year, and he still won a Cy Young. Like, you roll with that, and life is good. All right, the next one here, it's a little different. It's not like your flashy name, but I kind of wanted to highlight, I guess we could have done this in a player breakdown, but I don't think he needs that much time. But I wanted to highlight Griffin Conine, because he's kind of like the quiet one. Everyone was like Owen Casey, and, everyone wants us to really used to be something. And then you got Heriberto Hernandez, and a lot of options in the Marlins outfield is my point. But Griffin Conine was on the IL for a while, so kind of got forgot about. Then some people want to call him Jeff, because that's what I do when I first go to Fangraphs, because his father, and I'm old. But you got Griffin Conine, and I just want to highlight 2 more home runs on Sunday, Kelly. You went 2 for 4 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. And on the season, it's only in 52 games because of said IL stint, but it's 12 home runs over those 52 games. He's hitting 256, or 265 now, which is really, really strong. And more impressively, like, the power numbers are ridiculous from Griffin Conine. So I didn't know if you had anything on Conine. I just wanted to highlight it because when I do a lot of my, content stuff, I like to highlight the not so talked about people more often if I can. And Conine is a guy that stands out to me quite a bit.
Well, and I think we should talk more about the people that might be out there floating around that people don't know anything about, which usually is most of the Miami Marlins team. But I am with you. I think we're probably near each other in age, because I like the first 3 or 4 times I heard somebody talk about him, I was like, why are they talking about Jeff Conine? Like, what are we doing right now? So we get to an age where it's just all their fathers, right? Yep. But yeah, no, he's been impressive. He's he's probably still available in certain places. I'm not sure how rostered he is, but if you need a little bit of power, and if your outfield is kind of going downhill, if you have Esmeralda Valdez like on your team, like you might as well check this out, see what he's got. So I like Conine a lot.
We're going to get to Esmeralda in a minute, don't you worry. But one last thing on Conine, one reason what that stood out to me is this is the guy that on this season alone, 16% barrel rate, 54% hard hit rate. Last year we saw 15% barrel, 48% hard hit. So if you can hit the ball that consistently, that hard, the home runs will come. So don't sleep on Conine, especially in your shallower leagues. If you need power down the stretch, might sit versus a lefty, but something to keep in mind. Just a little highlight, because we didn't really talk about it on Friday with Rico because there's a lot going on, but there were a lot of prospects called up this week, and we'll just give quick thoughts on them, I guess. The Welsh is the guy you want to go to for all this stuff. Not going to pretend I know about it, but I'll get your thoughts on these ones real quick. Kaelen Culpepper, the Minnesota Twins, was called up on Friday, started Friday and Saturday versus left-handed pitching, sat on Sunday versus a right-handed pitcher, but rumor has it he got hit by a pitch twice, or fouled balls off twice. I read something about getting hit in the leg twice on Saturday, so they kind of gave him a day off, but he did homer in his debut on Friday. Kaelen Culpepper, any thoughts on him? Power, speed, a little bit of everything when it comes to the new Twins shortstop.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's been waiting for him to come up, right? Like, he's all the iterations the Twins have put out there, and we're all just like, so Culpepper is still here. And I think didn't he get injured like when they thought he might come up, and there was like a moment. But no, I mean, I think he should be here to stay. I don't think they have anybody that's going to replace him, so he'll eventually pick up the at bats if I guess he can dodge foul balls from hitting him. But some guys have that. Maybe he's going to take over for Royce Lewis getting weird injuries. I don't know, but
let's not throw that into the ether.
Yeah, no, exactly. I really like Culpepper. I think you should roster him. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll rip on Royce Lewis later. Okay, go on. Yep.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I like Royce Lewis. Yeah, we'll get to that later. But I'm curious. Abimelic Ortiz, Washington Nationals, sits first. Lefties is a left-handed power bat. Hit 2 home runs in his first 5 starts. So the power is legit. Batting average is suspect. So we're kind of having a trend here with some of these players. Again, we'll talk about Esmeralda soon. But Abimelic Ortiz, if you need power, we talked about Conine. Is this somebody that maybe came on the radar for you this weekend?
Yeah, he came on the radar just because I kept calling other Nationals players in the home run contest, and this guy's name kept popping up, and I was just like, who is this? Somebody called him, and I was like, is this a real person? But, I'd heard of him. I think his 2 home runs, in the first 5 starts, if he's going to bring more power to that lineup, I mean, it's like that lineup, if Wood comes back, like they've been shocking this year. But yeah, again, he's got a lot of power if he's available. You can try it out. That batting average is going to hurt you, but you can deal with it if you have it. So.
Yep, it's going to be a tricky batting average, but tons of power taking over for Luis Garcia Jr. there at first base in Washington. George Lombard Jr., the new stud shortstop for the Yankees, has started all 5 games at shortstop. Volpe's out of town. no concern there. Caballero's back to a super utility role. So Lombard Jr. was probably the most popular pickup out of this group, with Culpepper right behind him. Lombard has 5 hits in his first 5 games, including 2 home runs. This was, like I said, the top priority for many this week. What were your thoughts on Mr. Lombard?
Well, I feel like George Lombard belongs. He's in the, like, is it Peyton Tully? The 1970s, here's a guy that's just back and reincarnated. But yeah, I like him. I think that I haven't really followed him as much when he came up, but I kind of hope Volpe maybe gets a second chance somewhere else. Just because I feel like that they just picked him as the Yankees sacrificial lamb for a while. But Lombard's been impressive.
Yeah, the bright side for the Yankees, I guess, with all these injuries this year is Spencer Jones might be turning into something all of a sudden. Like it's a joke I make a lot on my show. It's shocking when you give young players consistent playing time. What can happen? But so many of these teams call it prospects, and like they just toy with them and like, oh no, they can't do it, and they send them back. And it's like, yeah, and most people wouldn't be able to. So surprise on that one. All right, bear with me, folks. I've been practicing this one because I butchered this name on Bench with Bubba last week because that's something I do often. But Cleveland Guardians, Angel Genao. Would never have guessed that in a million years. Genao, folks. That's what Baseball Reference says. That's what we're going with. Really good prospect for the Guardians. Actually, their number 1 prospect, which I learned about last week, has played second base or third base the first 5 games, which is really interesting because most places you play fantasy, probably shortstop eligible. But he's playing second base on days that J-Ram plays third base when J-Ram sits. That's a positive when I'm looking at playing time, Kelly, when they call up a player and actually use this. So he's played in 5 games, 7 hits, 368 average with the home run, 4 hits in his debut, which is really impressive. What was your thoughts on Genao?
Yeah, first of all, I'm very impressed. And I think the reason that you're hosting is your ability to look that up. Because if you had let me try it, I wouldn't have even come close.
I think I announced it at least 10 different ways on my shows last week. I get so bad. I felt horrible by the end. It's like you embrace it at a point.
Yeah, it's me every time they want me on a hockey show. I'm like, okay, well, here we go.
I would not be allowed back after one show.
I mean, I'm just like, yeah, that's another Russian name, cool. Anyway, I love that he is getting the playing time, that they're finding a spot for him, and because like you said, obviously Welsh is the one that can dig into this and dig into it, but like for me, I think we're on the same page where if they're getting the playing time, I'm way more likely to roster them because I'm like, okay, like we will see what they have. Like I'm willing to kind of, if I can stash on a bench for a minute, and then you just kind of have to wait and see if that fall off ever comes. But they're putting him in the lineup, and I think that's definitely obviously a plus.
Yeah, and Genao was like the third option this week. He went kind of Lombard, Culpepper, Genao, according to the masses that bid. I thought Genao might act like I wrote about it over the weekend. I'm all, just don't sleep on him. You're going to get him at a discount compared to everybody else. If he was the only one called up this week, he'd be going for a lot of money in your fab bidding. But that worked out pretty well for a lot of people when I looked at stuff Sunday evening. Last one I'll mention, and I will preface, there were many others called up. Jackson Jobe got activated. There's a lot of other things going on. That's another show for another day. But I want to mention Ronny Simon of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Got called up, played right field. The last 5 games hitting 278 with 1 steal. I just wanted to highlight him for 2 reasons, Kelly. Decent batting average throughout the minors, a ton of speed. So, like, we talked about power a lot early on in this show, and, like, the last 3 shortstops we talked about, little power-speed combos. This guy's straight up speed. Caveat. O'Neal Cruz could be back soon, and that's when things might get interesting at Pittsburgh. But we've seen O'Neal Cruz get hurt a lot. So what's your thoughts on Ronny Simon?
Yeah, put him in your lineup if you need, especially if you're short on stolen bases. Nasim Nunez has been awful as of late, gain on base, and obviously he's still the speed guy right now. But I guess I haven't really watched him or heard of him a lot up until now. But I looked him up obviously today when he was on the show sheet, and so yeah, he could be like an easy, cheap way to get some steals until Cruz comes back, and then he'll come back when Cruz goes away again. So it'll be worth it.
Trust me, no idea who he was either until he got called up. So we're all good on that one. All right, let's change things up here because you let a Giants guy host the show. We're going to bash Dodgers around here for a little bit, and we're going to go to a guy that, now you see me, now you don't. It's Eduardo Rodriguez. I can't figure this guy out. Most people can't figure Eduardo Rodriguez out. But one thing One team that can't figure him out at all is the Dodgers, which is impressive because Erod on Sunday, filthy, absolutely filthy. 7 innings, 2 runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts versus the Dodgers. One thing that Rodriguez has done this year, he hasn't allowed a lot of runs, but he doesn't strike a lot of guys out. 9 Ks, that's like chef's kiss on a Sunday when you're out of the playoffs already. But 4 games this year for Eduardo Rodriguez versus the Dodgers. 24 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 6 walks, and 21 strikeouts for Eduardo Rodriguez. And then one last thing, and then I'll pass it over to you. He threw 115 pitches on against the Dodgers. That's the first pitcher to throw like over 110 pitches this year for the D-backs I was reading. And I think the most in someone, I can't remember who now, sorry, 123 pitches like 6 years ago. Crazy stuff. Of all people, Eduardo Rodriguez has a 2.7 ERA this year. Kelly, thoughts on this? Every year there's a couple guys where you're just like, I give up. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, Eduardo Rodriguez is that guy. I feel like he's that guy kind of almost every year where he gets on a run or you put him on your team and then he walks 35 people and then you take him off your team and then he does this. Apparently, you just need to stream him against the Dodgers. But I mean, a season ERA of 2.7 is crazy, and I know that Callie is just thrilled that there's someone that can be a bit of a Dodger killer. But yeah, he's one of those guys like, Bubba, do you have these people that you're like, I don't know if I can trust you, like because of all of the rest of like his career and every other time we've rostered him in the past, he's just would be a really hard one for me to go after, and yet for like trade purposes, if there's anybody that trade deadline hasn't happened yet. Is he someone you'd want to go for?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on this. So Eduardo Rodriguez, I used to be just in love with Eduardo Rodriguez back in the day. And a long time ago, one of my old co-hosts, Toby G, Bat Flip Crazy for those that might know, used to make fun of me and goes, you love 1.4. And it took me a while to figure it out. And he's like, yeah, you like whips from 1.3 to 1.4 because that's what he does every single year. And he used to tell me that all the time. And you look at his like page, like boom, boom, boom. The last 2 years, it's been 1.5 and 1.54. This year, back to 1.23. It's ridiculous. So yes, I've always loved Eduardo Rodriguez. This is the first year I haven't. You're all welcome for giving up on
exactly.
it. To your question though, like most people would say, no, don't trade for him because it's like it's never going to last. Well, folks, I hate to break it to you. It's August 10th. Like it might not last. That's fair, but if you've been saying that for the last 6 weeks, you've missed out on a lot of production, is where I'm going with that point. So, it's tough.
Yeah, and I think with a veteran like that, too, sometimes it's when we get to September, like, it's everybody kind of wants to find the prospects or, like, okay, who are all these guys and which ones should I roster? And I think there is an element of just having, like, he's going to pitch. And he's probably going to go deep in games. And because that's just, that's his age. That's how they're using him. There's no innings limit. And I feel like sometimes if it wasn't Eduardo Rodriguez, I'd be like, go get him. And right now I'm still just like, he's having a great season and I'm fine with him being on anyone else's team.
So. Yeah, no, it's probably the right move to make, but does have a decent schedule coming up too. I was pulling that up on a weekly plan. It's at the Braves who... Yeah, but Reds, who are not good right now. Cubs is the trickiest one, and then Philadelphia, so not horrible when looking ahead. So, yeah, Eduardo Rodriguez, hat tip to you, old man. All right, last bit we have here, speaking of another lefty that just dazzled over the weekend, Sean Manaea of the New York Mets dominated the Pirates on Sunday. 7 innings, 1 earned run, which is on a solo homer to really spice it up. No walks and 11 strikeouts for Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea is doing things, folks. Since June 1st, 3.44 ERA, 68 strikeouts. He has thrown at least 6 innings in 5 of his last 6 starts with at least 7 innings prior to that. It wasn't too long ago, Kelly, where it felt like Sean Manaea couldn't throw hard. He wasn't going deep in the games. He needed a piggyback or he was the opener or whatever. Like, is Manaea done? He's topping out at 87. Well, if you look at the graphic on the old Twitch stream here, Manaea has thrown 13 pitches of at least 94 miles an hour since joining the Mets rotation in June. All 13 have come in his last 2 starts where he's striking out the masses. Are you buying? You asked me about Erod if you're good with this. Are you buying in on Manaea, who has improved since kind of rejoining the rotation, and now he's throwing harder in that improvement, which is pretty wild to see again in August 10th?
First, can we laugh for 1 second that when I saw this graphic and it was like has thrown 13 pitches of at least 94 miles per hour with what Misiorowski's been doing, I'm like,
Yeah.
so
That's the second inning.
I'm like, that's great. That's 10 miles per hour
Touche.
slower. Like I was just like, I would not have posted it like that. But yeah, I think I trust Erod more than Manaea, and I think that might just be more of a he has those brilliant like starts, but I feel like the wheels come off for him and they come off for multiple games. So and maybe I just don't trust the Mets like at all. But I feel like it's, yeah, you can pick him up, but just be prepared. If the wheels come off in one start, I would drop him because he does not usually, the bounce back doesn't come for him very often.
Yes, buyer beware when it comes to Sean Manaea. The bright side is most of baseball can't hit lefties apparently these days. But Manaea has a tough one. He gets the Nats coming up here. White Sox are mediocre, and then Milwaukee. So it's not going to be a walk in the park for Sean Manaea, but he has definitely improved this season. All right, before we go into a little fun fact of the day, talking about my playbook over at FantasyPros. Manage your fantasy baseball lineups and dominate your leagues with my playbook from FantasyPros. My playbook is a suite of powerful tools to help you make better decisions, manage your lineups, and win your leagues. Import your team in to get custom fantasy baseball news, rankings, and analysis. Sync your leagues today at fantasypros.com/MLB My Playbook or download the Fantasy Pros app. All right, everybody. Let's get a couple fun facts. Maybe it's just my baseball brain found them to be entertaining, but I saw them as I was perusing the old Twitter last night, thinking, what can we spice things up with today? This one's not great if you're a Blue Jays fan. The season's already been rough. Vladdy still hasn't homered at home, Kelly. Trust me, I'm keeping track. I don't know who else is, but it's wild to see. To top it off, the Blue Jays have had a rough go of it of late. They have played 4 extra inning games in the last 5 days in 3 different cities. So, and I saw also, I didn't add this to the sheet, the pitchers have thrown over 870 pitches over those 5 games. So that's why they've been adding guys back and forth. So to your point, and I hope Joe Rico's listens to this later, the Jays already beat up. Now, thank goodness they can charter their own planes. But just think if you had to do overtime 4 times in 5 days while traveling to 3 different cities, how would life be for you?
Life would be sad. I mean, they are like the number one team where I feel I haven't watched them a lot because they're not entertaining, but they just can't possibly be having any fun, and so then having to do more not fun work is just kind of like, okay, we're just slogging through this, and I feel bad for them. Doing it in 3 different cities is actually that's like the cherry on top of terrible. Like, I guess we're gonna get on a plane now and go play 45 more innings. It's just, I feel bad for them on some level, and I want to make fun of Rico on the other level. So.
Exactly. Well, he's like my little brother. I've told him that forever. I've known him since he started in this game, and spent many a golf course and evening with that man. So I have to poke at him as many times as I can. The other fact of the day, which really stands out, because if people have paid attention to standings for a while, the National League's been pretty powerful. The American League has a couple heavy hitters, but for the most part, it's pretty blah when you look at things. I saw a stat on Sunday. The Tigers have the best run differential in the AL at plus 180 or plus 87, which is really good. They're also 3.5 games behind the Chicago White Sox in the AL Central and 1 game out of the 3rd AL wildcard spot. So they are not even in the postseason at this point in time. The AL West all have negative run differentials. Just wanted to point that out. There's only like 4 or 5 other teams in the entire American League that have plus run differentials. So I just wanted to point out this Tigers team that just sold Tarek Skubal a week ago has the best run differential basically in the American League, as it says, and might not make the postseason, and hopefully doesn't come down to a pitching thing. So what were your thoughts when you saw this, Kelly?
I laughed because I was going to mention to you, I had seen the AL West, just the run different. I'm like, what is happening right now? I wasn't aware, I didn't notice the Tigers being the leader, but yeah, it's one of those where I felt it was weird that they were selling. Obviously, everyone said they had to sell Skubal or trade him or whatever, and I was really hoping he would go to Milwaukee because I thought that would put Milwaukee in the driver's seat in the National League. But obviously he went to the new evil empire, and for them, like it's just I just don't understand what's going on in the AL. Somebody should study it because the Tigers should be in the playoffs. I mean, they have a good lineup. They've got, the rest of their pitching staff's not terrible. I've never not like I never see one and think, oh my god, I could never start him in fantasy. Like, I mean, Mize has not been great lately, but he was cruising there for a while, and Melton has just been like my best friend. So it's, I feel like at the end of the day that they should be able to win this division, even without Scuba. But like you said, at some point it's going to come down to, even if they make the postseason, like who is starting game one for them? Like, what, you're not putting Framber out there. Like,
No.
it's just it's such a weird, it's just such a weird season in the AL.
Yeah, but it also shows how wide open it is and makes you really wonder. Like we talked about it last week. I understand the business decision. If you're a Tigers fan, like, okay, if we're not going to re-sign them, get something, and they got to return, which is good. Some might not think it's good enough, but hey, it's better than getting a comp pick, which the Giants got. So like, I'm well aware of this. At the same time, it's like, could you go for it? And as Todd in the chat says, is Troy Melton and his 1.46 ERA for real? I bring this up as you mentioned Troy Melton. You're a big fan. So, what was your thoughts when you saw this with Troy Melton? Are you for real with this?
I mean, I don't think I'm not 1.46 for real on it, but I have absolutely no trouble. I mean, he's been anchoring a couple of my staffs. I have him and Misiorowski that in the same league, and it's just been like I haven't set, forget, not worry about it type of thing, and it's been amazing because I had no idea who Troy Melton was when we started this year. And so yeah, it's like I think right now he's the de facto ace for them. But I don't think that's going to last. I'm not sure what his expected is. I can look that up though. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like he can keep it going to a certain degree, but if the number's correct at any moment, it's going to get weird. So
yeah, it's the weird thing with him is the strikeouts weren't there initially, and that kind of kept me like curious, like should I like him for fantasy? And my goodness, how that has changed all of a sudden. And it's been really, really impressive with Troy Melton. So yeah, as you said, and Todd also said, is Troy Melton the obvious ace, right? Yeah, I think he is right now, which is pretty crazy. All right, I want to get a quick. Sorry.
I was just going to say his expected ERA is 3.04, so there is definitely a little bit of space for him to go up. So just beware.
I'll still take 3.3.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A quick shout out here in the chat. CCD goalie reached a 25 stream streak, which is pretty awesome. So thanks for joining there. And then Lard Ferndale, he has resubbed. So thank you very much for joining the party over here at Leading Off, even if it's with us on board here. So we appreciate everybody hanging out with us today. Let's get a little 3 up, 3 down for everybody out there. On the upside, Pete Alonso 3 for 3 with 2 home runs, 3 runs scored, 4 RBIs. Was all over the base pass. Also noticed, I read a thing on Monday, 9 total bases for the first time as an Oriole. He has done that many times before. So some are saying his coming out party. Fernando Tatis Jr., 2 for 5 with a home run, a run scored, and 3 RBIs. 6 home runs since the All-Star break for Fernando Tatis Jr. And then I have to throw a little Jesus Luzardo in there. 7 innings, 2 earned, 1 walk, 12 Ks. Absolutely love Luzardo. I saw a tweet from a good friend of all of ours, Eric Cross, and he mentioned with Luzardo, it's been really, really impressive that he actually was talking with me on it, so it'll be quicker to find it here, that Jesus Luzardo has allowed, where to go, 0 to 2 earned runs in 18 of his starts, 5+ earned runs in 6 of his starts, 0 starts with 3 to 4 earned runs. So it's all or nothing with Mr. Jesus Lizard himself. So any thoughts on the 3 ups on this side of things?
Yeah, I've been excited to see Tatis. I feel like I'm like contractually obligated to comment nicely about the Padres right now. But anyway, I've been happy to see Tatis kind of come back. The power is coming back. But like, I mean, he's still slashing Fernando Tatis level stuff. Like, I mean, he's correcting. He's not going to. I don't know if he can correct all the way back to being a superstar this year, but he's definitely doing what he needs to. And then Alonso seems to have turned on a little bit. And yeah, the Luzardo. I have a team. One of my better teams this year is named the Sinister Southpaws. And so I have like all left-handed pitchers, and I do not have Luzardo, so, because the all or nothing was just. He's been impressive of late. I'm always worried about the blow up.
The blow-ups are there. Trust me, I am Team Luzardo through and through, so I've lived it the last few years, but the skill set is ridiculous. So I'll take the gamble, but Sinister Southpaws, that is an outstanding name. Because I am a lefty, so I respect it, and I didn't throw like a Sinister Southpaws, more of a Soft Thoughts and Jimmy Key type for those out there that remember. But yeah, pretty quality name there. All right, let's get to the downs. Esmeralyn Valdez. We need to have a chat real quick. Valdez 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts on Sunday over the last 2 weeks. I probably could have extended this profile, but let's just start here. The last 2 weeks, Valdez, three hits, 0 home runs. That might be worrisome to some, Kelly. But more importantly, 19 strikeouts and 38 at-bats. Now, he had 54 plate appearances because he does walk a lot. I'll give him credit. He's almost too patient. I was noticing it's like a 20% ball. Like he's like a 20% walker, like a 38% strikeout rate, essentially. So he's really patient at the plate, maybe to his detriment. But what is your take on this? Because I know when I first jumped on regularly about 3-4 weeks ago now, he was on every show. He was the front man for good reasons. We talked then that, hey, it's going to be streaky. There's a lot of swing and miss with Valdez, and we are seeing the bottom of that right now. So where are you at on the Valdez before we get to the other two on this one?
I saw a tweet that said something about did he get like hit on the arm or something like with a pitch? And
Yes.
that is that's literally a slash line of like since then has been the problem. And I don't think you can necessarily blame that because we all agreed he was going to just be streaky as I'll get out. But like that was an interesting like kind of note to like mark at. But he's droppable. I dropped him. I traded him out everywhere for this week. So just I can't ride out that batting average.
Smart move. Yeah, I benched him for now, but he was very close to the chopping block. I'm with you. As Game Over in the chat says, I dropped him for Jake Mangum. I guess we'll answer this real quick before we get to the other two. Would you rather have Jake Mangum or Griffin Conine?
Ooh. Well, I've loved having Mangum, so I'm going to go with him. And part of that is just like he seems to just kind of come through on like a steady pace for me. Like he kind of does a little thing every day. But the power, obviously, if you want just the straight up power, then Conine is your better option.
Yep, it's a power or speed thing. I know it's the lazy answer. Everyone hates team context, but it strictly is. Like if you want power, it's Conine. If you want speed, it's Mangum. And yeah, that's where that one lies. All right, a couple more on the downside. I think Trey Turner 0 for 6 with 3 strikeouts in the year has been a disappointing season for what we expect from Trey Turner. Still not a bad season, but from what we expect. And then Jared Jones, 3 innings pitched, 8 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks, ERA of about 5.6. I'm rounding off there since he's returned from the IL. But it's almost the Luzardo method where it's all or nothing with Jared Jones. And this was a nothing burger. So what are your thoughts on any of these other downs we mentioned?
Yeah, I have Trey Turner nowhere, and so I really haven't paid a lot of attention. But I feel like maybe we're seeing the age cliff. It may have arrived quickly. I don't know. But with Jared Jones, yeah, I wanted him to be so much better. And then he started off with when he got back, one start was the first start was terrible. The next 2 or 3 were great, and now we're back to kind of doing this. So it's the same thing. Like obviously in a keeper, I would hold him without any question. But if it's a redraft and a little bit shallow, I'm not going to ride that train, especially if I also have Braxton Ashcraft. So you gotta be careful with apparently Pittsburgh pitchers at this point.
Yeah, Braxton Ashcraft was cut in a couple of my leagues by myself over the weekend because I just couldn't do it anymore, and I love that man. I think he's going to be very good someday, but that day might be next year. One more thing real quick. Van Rod, thank you. He resubbed with a Prime as well, so big shout-out to you. I got one more question from the chat from CCD Goalie from earlier in the show I want to get to. He says, before the end of the show, I need this burning question answered. I stashed Baez. Assuming he's talking about the big dog from St. Louis is where we're going with that one, Joshua. Should we stash Kate Anderson too, or looking bleak unless a starting pitcher injury happens in Seattle? I have my thoughts, Kelly, but I will accede to you on this one.
Well, if Seattle knows what's going on, they should put him in. I feel like I don't know what's going on with Wu. Bryce Miller looked pretty bad in his last start. I was kind of almost hoping, and this isn't great for fantasy purposes, but I'm like, expand the rotation, like bring him in, let him have his regular starts. But like you can go every 6 for a little bit. So no, I'm fine. I would keep Baez. If you can only keep one, I'm keeping Baez, but that's where I'm at.
Full agree. And I would expect Baez to get the call here pretty much any day because we're almost at that point where you're inside the 45 game window. So that's why I think we saw a bunch this past week, and those teams were kind of still contending, and the Cardinals are just the Cardinals. So I think we will see Baez up very soon, to be fair. And Cade should be up in that same vein. Yeah, it's funny they did the 6-man rotation forever. They get rid of Luis Castillo, and now somehow they can't do the 6-man rotation. Makes no sense. But kind of a report last week from Seattle, and it was not like it was a beat report, but who knows if it was just word salad from the front office. They're saying when they call Cade up this year, it'll be for the bullpen. Believe it when I see it. We'll see, but we'll see how that holds on there. I guess real quick, we'll get Game Over. Just put a question in the chat here. Does the pending lockout hinder teams from adding prospects to the 40-man because it can halt their development not playing a year? From what I heard, Kelly, this is actually an interesting question because if there is a lockout, the minor league still goes on and non-40-man players still play in the minor leagues. So I could see that, but at the same time, like if it's an elite prospect, I don't know what we're doing, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a great question because probably strategically they should.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think that I feel like anyway with the pending lockout, that a lot of teams are distracted, and I know that sounds dumb, but I think it's like they know it's coming, but they don't know how to handle it, and the owners obviously are focused entirely on the salary cap. So it's just kind of that matter of do you think you can get anything out of them for the rest of the season? And if you're not a great team, go ahead, bring them up, like do your thing. But yeah, for the most part, if I think with pitchers in particular, I would try to keep them off to keep them in the minors.
Pitchers for sure. Fully agree with you. And that's a great point on the difference between the two. Pitching, you got to keep those guys developing. Thanks to the Sith Lord Vega. I don't know how you guys come up with your names, but it's darn impressive. Like Twitch is way too out of my world. So you guys are awesome. But he subbed with Prime and or they subbed with Prime. I have no idea, he or she. So thank you for joining us there. A couple quick injury notes here. Griffin Jacks to the IL with right elbow discomfort. It was really weird, Kelly, because he was scratched Saturday night, gets put on the IL with elbow discomfort. Saturday night, they said it wasn't ligament related. Yet Sunday evening, he's seeking a second opinion by flying to Texas. So we'll see about that. Cooper Pratt to the IL with a hamstring strain. Still waiting on the severity of that injury. Kyle Stowers left Sunday's game with a hamstring tightness, likely to land on the IL. So keep that in mind as you're setting your Monday lineups. George Springer missed the weekend action with a shoulder injury. He pinch ran on Saturday, but then immediately got taken out of the game. He cannot swing a bat at the moment. Keep that in mind. Andy Rodriguez missed the weekend action with hip injury. He is day-to-day. Adley Rutschman. Let's get some positive news here. Adley Rutschman flew back to Boston, could rejoin the team on Tuesday to make his Boston debut. Blake Snell will make his start for the Dodgers on Tuesday, and Zach Geloff is expected back in Sacramento to start Monday. Any thoughts on the injuries here, Miss Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, with Griffin Jacks, like, that's not right. I love how it's like, oh, he has a bruise somewhere, and then it's like, oh, yeah, also going to go to Texas and get the second opinion. And as we've joked in the chat forever, when is the last time a second opinion made things better? So it's, yeah, and with Stowers, oh, man, he was getting in that groove, and hamstring is just such a lingering problem for so many. But I'm really excited for Geloff to come back. He was holding down a lot of second base for me, and bringing him back when they have a bunch of home games, I think is going to be a boon this week.
Yeah, I joked about it on Twitter on Sunday that my biggest fab acquisition of the week was having Zach Geloff come off the IL because I have him. I'm not, no joke whatsoever, in over 80% of my leagues. I have so much Zach Geloff that it's a music to my ears to have that come. Like you said, Sacramento to kind of loosen the joints works as well.
Yep.
All right, Sacramento, lots of home runs. What are we going to talk about? Home run calls of the day. So we're going to get to it. Kelly, the home run board, Hi Cubby. He's been dominating since I got here, and just the gap just widens. 52 home runs last season, 9 home run gap over Lee Goldman, who continues to fight. I'll give you credit. Radman's at 42, JS Fan at 41, and Solar Floor at 41, playing for that Juan Soto jersey. So, Kelly, where are you going tonight when it comes to your home run call of the day?
I also want to just shout out Hi Cubby because he picks different people. He is not riding, like, it's not, I mean, he's all over the place and he just keeps hitting them, and it's amazing every day when I'm scoring it. But I'm going to go to Sacramento and I'm going to hang out with Junior Caminero tonight. He is facing a lefty. On the season, he's slashing 301, 436, 531 against left-handed pitchers, and again, Sacramento. So I feel like he might be able to bunt a couple out tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because, like, again, as a Giants fan, they say, I call it AT&T still, whatever, Oracle. They say it's a bad power park. I saw him almost hit one over the bleachers in a night game which the ball doesn't fly. So that's what I learned immediately when people said, "Oh, the ballparks." I'm like, nothing's stopping this kid. Like, so you put him in this Sacramento, as you mentioned, it's gonna feel like they're playing in Vegas all over again. He has the potential to do some cool stuff for
sure.
us fans out there, and I'm looking forward to that. For me, I'm going I'm going against Jamison Tyon. I pulled up his sheet real quick to check. I'm going against Jamison Tyon. We're going Wilyer Abreu. I know he was banged up over the weekend, but Abreu's back. He played on Sunday. It was a shin thing from a foul ball. So I'm not worried about too much when it comes to Wilyer Abreu, who has been red hot over the last month. And Jamison Tyon has allowed 6 home runs over his last 2 starts. If you want to dig even deeper, it's like 16 home runs over his last 7 starts. Gives up the long ball in bunches. So I'm going to go Wilyer Abreu on this one. And that takes us to our home run model, everybody. Make sure you check out the basic, check out the graphic daily or by show to the top 3 on the board here as we look at Tyler O'Neill, plus 500, Ceddanne Rafaela, plus 550, Jarren Duran, plus 425 are some of the top options on the MLB Home Run Best Bets board over at bettingpros.com. Go check it out. It's really cool. It shows you some of the best odds, some of the best just overall options. Tons of great stuff there. But Tyler O'Neill has been red hot. A couple home runs over the weekend. Ceddanne Rafaela also targeting Jamison Tyon. Oh, look at Jarren Duran targeting Jamison Tyon. So we got something going here with the Boston Red Sox, everybody. So go check that one out. And, really cool stuff there. All right, let's do best bets and get these folks ready to roll. Best bets this week. Who are we looking at tonight, Kelly?
I'm going to go, I'm here in Minnesota, and I'm going to pick on Dean Kramer as much as I possibly can. And it's kind of humid, it's kind of hot. So I'm going to go with Alonso to get 1 RBI tonight at plus 150. And I'm not sure if it'll come with a homer or if Kramer will just walk the bases loaded and then walk Alonso too. So it's either one can happen, and either way it cashes.
I absolutely love that bet. I didn't even look at plus 150 for Pete Alonso to get 1 RBI against the Dean, who, if you're an Animal House fan, 0.0, everybody. Like that one quite a bit. I'm going to Law Dog. We're sticking in Sacramento. Lawrence Butler. You picked on Lopez, rightfully so. I'm picking on Freddie Peralta because that's been disastrous. And Lawrence Butler's been heating up. He's sitting towards the top of the order for Sacramento, and there should be a lot of offense in this game. So I'm going over 3 hits, runs, and RBIs for plus 155 for Lawrence Butler. But most importantly, folks, make sure you try your first bet on Hard Rock Bet today. You can score $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just place a $5 bet. And if it hits, you get not only your winnings, but also an extra $150 in bonus bets. Just because it's coming up, folks, doesn't mean you can forget about baseball as we are rocking and rolling here. If you played the best bet on Friday, Drew Rasmussen over 8 strikeouts, you got there, folks. So lots to go here with Hard Rock Bets. Go check them out. Get that first bet in with the $150 in bonus bets. All right, Kelly. That'll do it. The maiden voyage. We hit the under. No surprise. I am not the Welsh, folks. That was going to be a given for the most. I talk way too fast. I get that a lot. But just don't listen at 2 speed. You're good. But pleasure chatting with you. We will be back on Wednesday doing this again. We also have a trade show for you guys. You're going to get a lot of me and Kelly to start the week here. Hope you guys are liking this. But any final thoughts before we head out of here tonight or today? It's early. I'm used to recording at night. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I'm excited for this week. I think there's a lot of great matchups. And as we're cruising through, I'm excited because this is the ruthless cutting season. So in the trade video, I'm going to talk about it's time to start ruthlessly cutting people. And I enjoy doing that a lot, apparently.
I love it. And my Bubba and the Bloom Patreon, our Discord, they have nicknamed me Captain Cuts because the last 2 weeks I have been, the guy gets hurt, I dropped Joe Ryan this week. We're just not playing games anymore. And again, argue with me all you want, totally fine. But I'm with you. It's ruthless season, and we move on from there. We'll have more for you guys and girls on Wednesday to talk some more fantasy baseball leading off. And again, check out our small quibble. But thanks for joining us today. This was your leading off episode, Monday, August 10th. Catch you all next time. That was a blast. That was good.
That was fantastic, and I got a lot of compliments on my hat, which I was also pretty excited about.
I know. I saw that in the chat, so I had to zoom in because my eyes, even with glasses, doesn't work. And I saw it. I'm like, that's branding right there. Wonky Penguin 101. Like, there we go. Absolutely loved it. That was great.
Exactly. That was fun.